Cross ice, Ovechkin fires! Score! The chasing days are done! Alex Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer in the history of the NHL!
The Ovi chase, let's face it, it was fantastic. We all loved it. It was taxing on the team, no question about it. So now they can just focus. The slate's wiped clean.
They wanted to be in the mix. They were. And the new kids in town are going to play beyond game 82.
Well, unlike the Capitals, Montreal had everything to play for down the stretch. They got it done in game 82. It was an unbelievable atmosphere up in Bell Center. It felt like a game 7 of the Stanley Cup playoff.
Every playoff series is all the difference is always will and compete and doing the little things right over and over again. There's a lot of things going to be thrown your way, and you got to figure it out emotionally and mentally.
It's a total different game, like intense speed, crowd, everything different. So
Alex Ovechkin and the Capitals one more time in the chase for Lord Stanley's Cup.
And tonight we see a new era of Montreal Canadiens back on the big stage.
And it starts tonight in a familiar story from 15 years ago against the conference winners, the Washington Capitals. Will it be a series for the old dog or some new tricks? This is what you've been waiting for. It's the incredible ride towards the ultimate prize, the Stanley Cup. Bring it on. Here we go.
Dubois cross ice, curling drag, McMichael. Stop there, Montembeault at the line. Another point-blank chance. And Montembeault laser locked in.
Oh, this line is humming early here.
Cooley, Green back behind the cage.
You got to take it all in. You got to embrace it, and then you got to brace for it because it's coming. I mean, the playoffs are all about physicality and wearing down your opponent, and the Capitals know that, and they got to it right away.
Shot by Roy, fought off by Montembeault. Shot, tipped in front of Montembeault. With a chance denied by Montembeault. Puts it towards the net. Montembeault is saying, give it off, trying to clear it.
The Habs are flailing, and listen to this crowd. What a start here in Game 1.
If you're the Washington Capitals, take control of the game. Don't allow the Montreal Canadiens to get any oxygen to create a flame of any sort, and that's what they've done early in this.
Wilson finds Ovechkin. Drive! He scores! Alex Ovechkin!
Alex Ovechkin leads it off here in Game 1. It's a power play goal. It's 1-0 Washington.
Did that look familiar to you?
Strome, drop it on back. Ovechkin just off the bench. Stop there, rebound. Score! Beauvillier!
Well, they're going to feel pretty good about themselves and the start they've had, and the captain with a goal and a helper. I just think they've been the aggressor in this game. They've taken control of the game like you're the number 1 seed in the East. That's what you're supposed to do, and it's up to Montreal to respond. But they're only down 2, and if they can get the next one, that could change an awful lot in a playoff game.
It ricochets and they score! Caulfield, a power play goal!
The Montreal Canadiens get that first goal, and then all of a sudden it seems like all the play is in Washington's zone, and all Washington doing is defending.
Palpable anxiety in the sellout crowd here at Capital One Arena.
That's how the momentum spins in the playoffs.
Carrier put it on net. Stopped by Thompson. He's out of the net.
Scores! Nick Suzuki ties it. The captain comes through once again for the Canadiens, and it's 2-2.
As this game 1 will go to sudden victory overtime. Off this draw, it squirts loose. Montembeault ready, rebound in time, score! For the first time in his career, Alex Ovechkin has a Stanley Cup playoff overtime goal.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Montreal. Alex Ovechkin, the overtime game-winning goal. Caps lead the series 1-0.
Back in the Capitol for Game 2 after it was all OV in OT for Washington in Game 1. Now the young Canadiens will look to show that their nerves have settled and And they're ready for battle as they'll look to even the series before heading home to Montreal.
Out in front of it, shot wide by Caulfield.
Centered for Caulfield, just out of his reach.
First line terrific right out of the gate tonight for Montreal.
That's a great start for the Canadians. And I love the energy. You're feeling it all the way up here, Marks. You can feel the energy coming off the ice surface. It's one of those things like, and Marty saying that we talked about it, you know, he's like, it's our second game. How are we going to respond after game one and all the jitters? Well, I don't know. Young teams are unpredictable. You don't know how they're going to respond, but we know one thing. This is a very resilient bunch of players on the Montreal Canadiens, and they usually figure it out.
Alexander Carrier and a right pad save made by Thompson.
Bounce off the boards. Uri Slafkovsky with a shot off the arm of Thompson.
Army out in front for Newhook. Fans of the shot.
You know, you got to manage the pockets that Washington's going to be good. And so far, so good, but I like what I see.
Here's Gallagher spinning towards the net. He scores!
Chip, chase, crash, and finally the puck slammed into the Washington net.
Michael drags it loose. Looks to stop. Stopped by Montembeault. Rebound. Off the defender. Score!
Villiers down low. Rebound, score! Dylan Strome puts Washington on top.
Every single play, no matter how minute it will be, it can be a huge difference in this game.
Goes back to Kaden Cooley with a shot. Snagged by the glove of Thompson. A break for the Canadians. Anderson. Stop by Thompson.
It gets passed back to Armia. And Logan Thompson, a diving save.
Back to the point. Evans for that drive. And it's snagged by the glove of Thompson.
Montreal with 13 shots here in the third period. That's more than they had in the first two. Montreal has turned it up, and Washington once again has been on their heels here in the third period.
A shot by Carrier. Tipped off. It's not there by Thompson on the redirect.
Capitals with a takeaway. McMichael seals the deal.
With the Caps, by the skin of their teeth, win both here in Washington.
The Stanley Cup playoffs are always great theater. The drama, the excitement, and the spectacle. And the passion and pageantry burns brightest on its greatest stage here in Montreal. Tonight, the Canadians will look to summon the ghosts and ride the roar of the faithful here in this city as they aim to climb back in the series against Washington.
Game 3 soon to unfold. 22,000 roaring here.
No city does playoff hockey like Montreal.
All down the stretch drive, the Canadiens players said they wanted the playoffs for this. A chance to perform in front of their fans. The fire is lit. The moment is now. And it's showtime in Montreal.
Anderson fires right on. A blocker save. Taken away from Anthony Beauvillier. Caulfield right on and a glove save.
Momentum is the most important thing in the playoffs. They need more of it, and they have to get it more than just the third period. They've got to get some of it in periods 1 and 2.
Rasmus Sandin gathers, fires, kicked out by Montembeault. Rebound, score!
Matt Roy put it to the side of the net, and Connor McMichael tips it in. And Washington's on the board first in Game 3. We'll see how the Canadians respond. Jake Evans after it, and brought through hook backhand, kicked out by Thompson. Give it off for Carrier, over to Matheson. Matheson, long shot, looking for a tip. Give it off, goes after it. Chikrin to McMichael, turned over. Newhook to Carrier, shooting, scores!
With Louis fires, he scores! Jacob Chikrin rifles it home, and the game is tied.
A huge development here moments ago. Samuel Montembeault has left the game. Jakub Dobiš has come into the net for the Canadiens.
But obviously something is not right with Samuel Montembeault, and Jakub Dobiš is going to come into the net for the Montreal Canadiens. And welcome to the Stanley Cup playoffs, where anything can happen at any time.
10 seconds, Monson across, score!
Back-to-back period, scoring under a minute. This one's under 10 seconds. What a big goal and what an individual play by Lane Hutson.
And now they're fighting to the bench. Anderson and Wilson have gone into the Capitals bench.
It doesn't take much to really peeve someone off when you've gotten to Game 3, and a lot has transpired between these two teams.
Here's Strome across, they score! Right on cue, Alex Ovechkin.
the Canadiens take the lead again.
Here comes Slavkovsky. Hands it off. Caulfield. Slavkovsky. Score! Gallagher trying to work it in front of Gallagher. Scores! They wanted to be in the mix. They were. They wanted to be in the playoffs. They are. And now they're in the series. The fire in this city was lit Friday night, and it's continued burning all weekend long after a wild game filled with so many storylines, and the noise reverberates from outside to inside and into its way into Game 4 tonight as we see what this series has in store for us next with the Canadiens and Capitals.
Game 4 in Montreal. The Capitals lead the Canadiens 2-1. Game 3 had it all. 9 combined goals. A brawl that spilled onto the bench. Backup goalies thrust into action. Not to mention the soundtrack of the 21,000 plus rabid Canadiens fans here at Bell Center. Where do we start?
The Stanley Cup playoffs bring out a lot of emotion, and we've got all the feels again here tonight.
David Savard. This gets to go off a redirect, and it's saved and covered by Logan Thompson. Hudson across, Caulfield shot blocked.
Well, it's a long, winding road with many peaks and valleys, these NHL playoffs. And whether they're short or long, they're always arduous. And the biggest thing is you have to maintain your composure while you navigate the terrain of a series. It's a must to have any kind of shot at success in both these teams. In buildings that create so much energy, trying to compartmentalize it and put all that energy in the right places.
It's the line against Anderson. Puck gets free. Anderson on race after. Short-handed. Anderson to the net. Great defensive play by Carlson to get back.
Loose puck. Side of the net. Thompson with a big save.
As across all goes. Wilson with a chance on it.
Beauvillier with a steal off Hudson. Hudson with a recovery. Beauvillier the second effort. They score! Dylan Strome with the follow-up.
Pick it out. Drops it on the way. Great play. Center. Slavkovsky ties it.
Playoff hockey at its finest. Two teams going at it, hit for hit, goal for goal. The gamesmanship of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It is the best.
That's it across. Caulfield scores! Caulfield! Well, it's been another fantastic game so far here in Montreal. The game has really ratcheted up here as well, a little more physical play.
Well, obviously what's on the line is a stranglehold in the series. Both teams just failed to go away in any of the games. They hang in there and
tracked the whole way by Duhaime. Oh, Wilson! Lined up Carrier in the trolley tracks.
Anderson shaking the gloves.
Duhaime in tight save. Tomas, they score! On a bouncing puck out in front.
Would have been blown dead if he decided to drop the gloves and the Capitals score. That is discipline from Tom Wilson.
Was that a solid body check?
Dropped it off. Mangiapane and scores! Andrew Mangiapane with a snapshot that gets by Domish.
Down, hands it off. Duhaime buries it into the empty net.
Wilson with the empty net, and he puts the dagger in game number 4 and gives it to the fans.
And for the Montreal Canadiens, seemed like they were in such control of this game at 2-1, and it has slipped away on them, and they will have to regroup and head to Washington and try to keep this series alive.
The playoffs are all about momentum, which is defined as the driving force gained by the development of a process or course of events. The momentum has swung several times in this series, and tonight it's the Canadiens that hope the course of events can lead that swing back in their favor against the Capitals as they look to stave off elimination and force a Game 6 back in Montreal.
And the lights come up on Game 5 of this first round series between the Caps and the Canadiens.
Game 5 from Washington. where it's a slim margin of difference between win or go home and win to go home for Montreal. Lost it to Slafkovsky, back of the net. He comes out front. Suzuki with a chance. Stopped by Thompson. Caulfield slides it to the net. Thompson plays it. Gallagher's got it. Shot right on. And Thompson gets back in time to make the save as he goes right to the net. Sandin with check. Slafkovsky takes his man down, and this time he'll get called. As Duhaime was tripped up, it's a slashing call against Juraj Slafkovsky.
Now Washington with Alex Ovechkin, the NHL's all-time goal-scoring leader, all-time #1 when it comes to power play goals. Fires and scores! Right on cue! The Great 8 makes it 1-0.
And the captain who had the first goal of the series, a power play goal, has got another one.
His 30th career playoff power play goal. 5th of all time. As the records just keep on coming for the Great 8 at age 39.
Chychrun scores! Beautiful passing! It's 2-0.
For the Montreal Canadiens, keep your focus streamlined, narrow. That's what you have to do in the playoffs. You can't dwell on bad games, bad shifts, any kind of event, or go back to things that happened way in the past. Stay in the present. Don't get too far ahead as you're trying to accomplish a big win on the road and drag the Washington Capitals back to Montreal.
Put it on net. Dovish. How to kick it out. Rebound in front. Out front. Oh! What a save by Dovish. 3-on-1 short-handed Canadians. And a great pass. Oh, a big save by Thompson on the three. Dvorak over to Matheson. Canadians pressing. Matheson's shot just goes wide.
They have been pouring it on here and certainly been the better team up to this point. Now, in the next 5 or 6 minutes, can they get the next one that would put some angst onto the Washington Capital bench?
Strome surveying the options. Back door. It was Carlson sneaking in. Now a wraparound backhand. Wilson scores! Tom Wilson!
Public enemy #1 if you're a Habs fan, and he strikes again.
Armia throws it down. Scores! Armia put it to the goal. Heineman might have touched it on its way in.
Time is running really thin right now. Well, we're down to the short strokes now. Down 2, down 3 games to 1 in the series. As desperate as it gets, is the story over for this year for the Montreal Canadiens? Or do they have one more rabbit coming out of the hat here?
Hudson blocked. Played ahead. And another empty net goal. Duhaime, who blocked the shot, will send Washington on to the second round.
The Caps will advance for the first time since they won the Cup in 2018. Celebrating a clinching victory for the first time on home ice in 10 years.
This is where you put aside all the shenanigans and all the physicality in a series and the sportsmanship in the handshake line.
As Washington will move on to the second round to face the Carolina Hurricanes.